Is the culprit closer to home? Coronation Street spoilers follow. Coronation Street has confirmed a shocking new suspect in Hope Dobbs's bullying storyline. As her potential tormentor makes a sudden slip-up, could this finally mark the end of the teenager's misery? Recent episodes have seen Hope receiving nasty messages from an unknown sender, causing her confidence and mental health to decline. Though Bethany Platt tried to help boost Hope's self-worth with some empowering affirmations, the youngster continued to be inundated with vile and upsetting texts, which she struggled to ignore. This week, Hope thought that she had discovered the identity of her bully while getting a Halloween makeover at the salon. As Maria Connor stepped into the back room, Hope noticed her stepson Jake sniggering at his phone. Jake's laughter coincided with the arrival of another text, leading Hope to accuse him of bullying her. Though Jake denied the claims, heartbroken Hope stormed out of the salon, deciding to give her Halloween party a miss. Later, Hope revealed the truth to her mom Fizz and Grandma Cassie, who were horrified to read the anonymous messages. But how will they react when they learn the identity of a shocking new suspect? In scenes that will air on 7 November, Hope's sister Ruby complains to her parents that she's being teased for having a cringy and clapped mobile phone. Tyrone bluntly tells his disgruntled daughter that she'll have to make do as they can't afford a new one. When Hope arrives home from school, she reveals yet another horrible message from the unidentified sender. But while Tyrone is disgusted by the text, he's even more annoyed when he sees the insult, cringy and clapped, on the screen. Realizing it's the same phrase Ruby used earlier, Tyrone begins to question his daughter's behavior. Could she be the one responsible for her own sister's turmoil? Hope initially thought that Jake Windass was responsible for all the nasty messages she's been receiving, our Corey source reminds us. But Gary and Izzy's lad seemed genuinely shocked by the accusation and protested his innocence. In a devastating twist that will send shockwaves through the cobbles, the sinister mystery tormenting Hope Dobbs is set to be solved in the most heartbreaking way possible. After weeks of vile, anonymous messages shattering her confidence, a chilling verbal slip reveals that the culprit may not be a stranger or a schoolyard rival, but her own stepsister, Ruby Dobbs. As a family is torn apart from within, Coronation Street prepares to deliver one of its most poignant and emotionally complex storylines of the year. The dark shadow of cyberbullying has fallen over Weatherfield, and at its center is Hope Dobbs, a teenager whose spirit is being systematically broken by a relentless, faceless tormentor. Recent episodes have painted a painful picture of a young girl under siege, her phone transformed from a tool of connection into a weapon of psychological warfare. Despite the best efforts of a supportive Bethany Platt, who attempted to arm Hope with empowering affirmations, the barrage of vile and upsetting texts has been unrelenting, chipping away at her self-worth and leaving her isolated and paranoid. The plot appeared to thicken this week in a moment of high drama perfectly suited to the Halloween season. While getting a spooky makeover at the salon, Hope believed she had finally unmasked her persecutor. As Maria Connor stepped away, Hope spotted Maria's stepson, Jake, sniggering at his phone. In a cruel coincidence, a new abusive message arrived at that exact moment, leading a distraught and furious Hope to publicly accuse him. Though Jake vehemently denied the claims, his protests fell on deaf ears. A heartbroken Hope, feeling betrayed and exposed, stormed out, deciding to abandon her own Halloween party, a stark symbol of how this bullying has stolen her joy. The situation escalated at home when Hope, finally breaking her silence, showed the full extent of the malicious messages to her mother, Fizz, and grandmother, Cassie. The two women were rightly horrified, their parental instincts firing to protect their vulnerable girl from an unseen enemy. The hunt for the culprit was on, with the finger of suspicion pointing firmly at Jake Windass. But in the world of Coronation Street, the truth is often far more complicated and painful than it first appears. In explosive scenes set to air on November 7th, the narrative will take a shocking and deeply unsettling turn, pivoting the investigation from the doorstep of the Windass family to the heart of the Dobbs' own home. The drama begins with a seemingly mundane family complaint. Hope's stepsister Ruby is feeling the social pressures of teenage life, moaning to her parents, Tyrone and Fizz, that she's being teased for having what her peers call a cringy and clapped mobile phone. In a moment of typical parental pragmatism, a financially stretched Tyrone bluntly tells his disgruntled daughter that she'll have to make do, as a new phone simply isn't in the cards. Later, when Hope returns from school, the cycle of abuse continues as she reveals yet another horrible message to Tyrone and Fizz. Tyrone's disgust, however, quickly morphs into a dawning, sickening realization. His eyes lock onto a specific insult on the screen: cringy and clapped. It's the exact unusual phrase Ruby used just hours earlier. The coincidence is too glaring, too specific to ignore. In a moment of crushing clarity, Tyrone begins to seriously question his own daughter's behavior. Could Ruby, Hope's own stepsister and the person who should be her closest ally, be the architect of her profound misery? A show insider contextualized the dramatic pivot, stating, "Hope initially thought that Jake Windus was responsible for all the nasty messages she's been receiving. But Gary and Izzy's lad seemed genuinely shocked by the accusation and protested his innocence." This new clue forces the family to look in a direction they never expected. This revelation promises to unpack a tinderbox of family dynamics, blending issues of sibling rivalry, blended family tensions, and the immense social pressures faced by modern teenagers. The Dobbs household is a unit built on love and resilience, but this alleged betrayal from within threatens to fracture its very foundation. For Fizz, the revelation would represent an unimaginable conflict. Her maternal duty to protect a vulnerable Hope crashing directly against her love and responsibility for a daughter, Ruby, who may be acting out in a profoundly cruel and damaging way. The storyline delves into the complex and often hidden world of sibling bullying, a subject rarely explored with such nuance in soap opera. What would drive Ruby to such extremes? Is it simple jealousy? A desire to assert power or deflect from her own insecurities about her social status and clapped phone? Or could it be a misplaced manifestation of the deeper, unspoken challenges that come with being part of a blended family, where competing for attention and resources can foster deep-seated resentment? The fallout from Tyrone's discovery will be catastrophic. The confrontation, when it comes, will force Ruby to either confess under pressure or weave an ever more complex web of lies. How will Fizz, a lioness when it comes to defending her children, process the possibility that one of her daughters has been systematically torturing the other? And most heartbreakingly, what will this mean for Hope? To discover that her tormentor has been eating breakfast at the same table, sharing a home, and pretending to be family, could inflict a deeper wound than any anonymous text ever could. This plot is a masterclass in modern storytelling from the Coronation Street team, holding a mirror up to the very real and often hidden issue of intra-family bullying. It promises a raw and emotional exploration of guilt, forgiveness, and the arduous path to rebuilding trust once it has been shattered by those closest to us. As the Dobbs family faces its greatest test, viewers are set for a powerful, unmissable, and emotionally charged journey that proves sometimes the enemy is not at the gate, but sleeping in the next room.